the Baltic skies suddenly turned tense. For the first time in the latest period, Turkey dispatched an AWACS aircraft to Lithuania, right at the heart of NATO territory bordering Russia. A military move that is far from routine, but a stark signal that the alliance is tightening its aerial watch over Europe's most fragile frontier. According to Jane's Defense Weekly and the War Zone, Turkey's AWACS aircraft arrived in Lithuania this week, joining NATO's air policing mission. The mission is clear: to strengthen early detection capabilities against any suspicious aerial activities along the Baltic frontier. Lithuania, which borders Russia's heavily militarized Kaliningrad enclave, armed with S-400 missile batteries, Su-30 fighter jets, and advanced electronic warfare systems, is now a central point of NATO's air watch. The AWACS deployment comes just days after reports of increased Russian jet activity over the Baltic Sea, including near-miss encounters with Allied patrol aircraft. Since 2004, when the Baltic states officially joined NATO, this region has been regarded as the alliance's weak spot. Without large-scale air forces of their own, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania rely entirely on rotating Allied fighter jets to guard their skies. Russia is well aware of this vulnerability, repeatedly testing NATO's response by sending combat aircraft close to or even across Baltic air boundaries. Some of these flights deliberately turn off transponders, making them invisible to civilian air traffic controllers, a dangerous tactic that has led to several near collisions. After the annexation of Crimea in 2014, tensions spiked further, and the Baltic region became a front line in NATO's renewed confrontation with Moscow. The war in Ukraine has only sharpened this divide, with the Baltic states demanding stronger guarantees from NATO. The AWACS aircraft Turkey deployed is most likely the Boeing 737 AEW&C Peace Eagle, an airborne surveillance platform equipped with the MESA, multi-role electronically scanned array. This radar can detect targets up to 600 kilometers away, track hundreds of aircraft simultaneously, and deliver a real-time aerial picture to NATO command as well as tactical command centers in Eastern Europe. The massive dorsal radar antenna allows the AWACS to loiter for hours, supported by satellite communications linked directly to NATO headquarters in Germany as well as tactical command centers in Eastern Europe. The Peace Eagle's capabilities are comparable, though not identical, to NATO's own fleet of Boeing E-3 Sentry AWACS, which have been in service since the 1980s. Unlike the older E-3, which uses a rotating radar dome, the Turkish aircraft employs an advanced electronically scanned array that provides superior resolution and faster target updates. It can not only track conventional aircraft, but also detect low-flying cruise missiles, maritime surface vessels, and even stealth aircraft signatures at certain ranges. Turkey operates 4 Peace Eagle aircraft, and deploying one to Lithuania shows Ankara's willingness to commit one of its most advanced assets far from home. The aircraft typically carries a crew of 10 to 20, including radar operators, intelligence analysts, mission directors, and airborne battle managers. These personnel can guide Allied fighters, F-16s from Poland, Eurofighters from Germany, or Gripens from the Czech Republic, directly to intercept unknown aircraft detected near NATO borders. This is not the first time AWACS aircraft have been deployed to the Baltics. Since the early 2000s, NATO has periodically stationed E-3 Sentries at bases in Poland, Germany, and the Netherlands, flying surveillance missions over the Baltic Sea. These missions became especially frequent after Russia's invasion of Crimea in 2014. According to NATO.int, AWACS flew more than 800 sorties in 2015 alone, monitoring Russian military maneuvers. However, Turkey's involvement adds a new dimension. Unlike Germany, Britain, or the United States, which have long been the backbone of NATO air surveillance, Turkey's AWACS deployment underscores Ankara's determination to play a frontline role. This comes at a time when Turkey's relations with the alliance have been strained, from disagreements over Syria policy to its purchase of Russian S-400 missile systems to tensions with Greece in the eastern Mediterranean. By sending a Peace Eagle to Lithuania, Ankara is reminding the West that it remains a critical player capable of contributing advanced assets when needed. This movement has two faces. On one hand, AWACS' presence strengthens NATO's collective defense, ensuring that every Russian aerial move is tracked second by second. On the other hand, Moscow may interpret it as a deliberate escalation. Analysts cited by the war zone note that deploying surveillance aircraft like AWACS near Kaliningrad's borders is highly sensitive, as it can map Russian military operations normally kept under tight secrecy. Russia has invested heavily in electronic warfare systems, including the Krasuha and Murmansk complexes, which are capable of jamming or disrupting radar and communication signals. AWACS missions near Kaliningrad could therefore face aggressive attempts to blind or confuse their systems. In addition, Russian fighters such as the Su-35 or MiG-31 often shadow NATO surveillance flight, engaging in high-risk maneuvers that could trigger accidents. The risk of aggressive interceptions by Russian fighters or electronic jamming is higher than ever. Yet politically, Turkey is also sending an internal message. Despite frequent disagreements with Western allies, Ankara remains a vital part of NATO. Deploying AWACS is a demonstration of responsibility, but also a subtle reminder that NATO cannot afford to ignore Turkish interests in other theaters. For the Baltic states, this boosts their sense of security. Lithuania can show its citizens that NATO provides not only fighters, but also its most strategic and expensive assets. For Russia, the signal is unmistakable. Every move in the Baltic will be watched. Globally, non-NATO states like Sweden and Finland, the newest alliance members, will likely deepen air intelligence cooperation. Sweden, with its strong Gripen fleet and radar expertise, could integrate its data with NATO AWACS to create a seamless Northern European surveillance net. Finland, sharing a long border with Russia, may see Turkey's participation as reassurance that all allies, not just the big powers, are invested in defending the frontier. Meanwhile, Asian states like Japan or South Korea may take note that AWACS is a vital instrument in facing large neighboring threats. Both countries already operate their own airborne early warning aircraft, but the Turkish mission in Lithuania demonstrates how such assets serve not only military, but also diplomatic purposes, showing resolve, deterring aggression, and building alliance cohesion. The greatest danger, however, remains escalation through miscalculation. A single incident, a mid-air collision, radar interference, or mistaken fire could spiral into a major international crisis. The 1983 downing of Korean Airlines Flight 007, mistakenly shot by a Soviet interceptor, remains a chilling reminder of what can happen when military and civilian traffic collide. An accident involving NATO and Russian aircraft over the Baltics could provoke a chain reaction far beyond the region. From Washington's perspective, Turkey's AWACS deployment is a welcome sign that burden sharing within NATO is working. The United States has long urged allies to contribute more to collective defense, and Ankara's decision gives credibility to that appeal. For Europe, it highlights the need for interoperability. Integrating Turkish systems with NATO command and control ensures smoother operations across different forces. For Moscow, however, the presence of Turkish AWACS just a few hundred kilometers from St. Petersburg will be perceived as direct surveillance. Russian military planners may respond by deploying more advanced radars, scrambling fighters more frequently, or even stationing nuclear-capable assets in Kaliningrad. The Kremlin thrives on signaling, and Turkey's AWACS mission may trigger its own counter-messaging in the form of bomber patrols or naval exercises in the Baltic Sea. This is the new geopolitical reality of Eastern Europe. A single AWACS flying over the Baltic can alter the military calculus of the entire region. NATO is proving its solidarity is real, while Russia will feel watched from every angle. The question remains, will this deter Moscow or provoke bolder moves?